Well, because this room is such a wreck, I will just simply say that this has been our studio for a year and a half-ish, something like that. But now, to this. Welcome to our new space here at the Chartreuse Leprechaun. My name is Mark, your host, and it's time for that monthly-ish update video, and we got a fair bit of stuff going on. The big news, apart from moving, is on June 12th, we passed the 100 subscriber mark. That's quite the milestone at less than a month after deciding to do it, which is pretty darn cool. This month has been really busy, and we aren't done yet either. So we have studio stuff, we have channel stuff, we have tech stuff, we have all kinds of stuff. And for all you wonderful subscribers and viewers, because it came up in the comments a few weeks ago, I will recap a few things about me and the channel that you kind of need to know. Okay, well, like I said, lots to go over. Let's get started. As you can see, we're on our new studio. Still got a lot to do, but we are here. So let me give you the nickel tour, such as it is, you know, small space and all of that. For starters, you can tell that, yeah, it's still a work in progress. We're still moving stuff and sorting stuff and piling stuff and all of that. But and yes, I know about the cable management. We'll get there. We'll get there. I mean, clearly that workaround with that little board underneath the monitor really expands the desk. So that's going to be kind of cool. We got the jerseys up to cut the echo in the room. One day I'll tell you the story of the flag, and specifically that letter. It's really cool, and it's not, or probably not, what you think, but it is really cool. And we still got a bunch of boxes and whatnot to go through and put in place. We got gear all over the place, but we got a way to use all of our gear now. All our tripods, all our lights and stuff. Still got stuff to put on the wall. And in case you're wondering why we're not using the closet, my daughter still has stuff that she's got to get moved to her apartment, so it's in the closet. We'll get there. We'll get there. Meanwhile, because we have multiple filming spots, we get to play around with our microphones again. Both our microphones. I mean, sure, we'll be using that cheap Neewer microphone, but you know what? It works. And we still have some problems in here. There's an echo in here. I do not like it, and I haven't figured out how to get rid of it yet. Operative word, yet. But with the right adjustments in OBS and Resolve, it doesn't sound that bad. Still need to paint the wall behind me. I'm thinking maybe red? I don't know yet. And we still got stuff to put on the walls. We still got the permanent lighting points to set up, because let's face it, this lighting is terrible. But we'll get there. We'll get there. Leprechaun allowing, of course. Now, for starters, in our tech education segment, we're going to talk about temperatures again. Now, as expected, temperatures are higher, and it's partly because of the AC issues, the air conditioning issues we talked about last time. But there's actually another reason that I didn't think about. As a reminder, we are in Texas, and currently temperatures in my area of Texas are near 100 degrees or higher. And that's Fahrenheit, which is 37 plus Celsius every day. It is summer after all, meaning heat indexes are well over 100 every day right now. And this room is on the sun-facing side of the house, so ambient room temperature is 75 to 80 Fahrenheit, which is mid to upper 20 Celsius, I think. Now, the good news is computer temps are a lot lower than I expected them to go. Now, it's only up about 2 or 3 C at idle, 8 C with processing, gaming, recording, rendering. Fortunately, rendering is only into the low 70s, Celsius that is. Oh, the horror! The horror! Low 70s! Whatever shall we do? In other amusing news, our internet service requires that we use a modem/router/gateway box. It's from a small telecom company. Maybe you've heard of them, AT&T. Anyway, we can't afford to have the entry point rerouted to this room, so it stayed in the old room. And that means we need to run cabling through the walls, through the attic, out the wall on the other side, so we can remain hardwired to the gateway. It's not really a problem, it's just annoying. And needless to say, it's still a work in progress. But in the meantime, we're doing kind of a workaround. We're running this wire from way over here all the way across the house to the computer.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
First thing in programming news, let's talk about Leprechaun stories. As I said last month, we're doing Leprechaun stories as shorts now, YouTube shorts. I don't know if those are promotable or even how you do it, but the good news is viewership doesn't actually seem to affect the channel, not like main videos do anyway, or at least as far as I know. If you know differently, please let us know. Please, 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 and thank you.
So we went from 1 Leprechaun story a week to 2 Leprechaun stories a week, and so far my brain seems to be handling that okay. It's borderline, but it's working out so far, so we're going to try and do it for another month.
Second, I still have no idea what happened with Mr. Prepper episode 13. That whole microphone recording fiasco. If you don't know, you can catch the intro to episode 13.5. I'll have a link in the description below. I discuss it in some detail anyway. I changed nothing. I didn't add any gear. I didn't change any settings. I did nothing different, and OBS did the weirdest stuff with the microphone audio. But thanks to the folks in the OBS Discord server, we seem to have figured it out. They suggested I get rid of my inactive sound inputs. Now, there was nothing connected to them, so there was no problem with that, and now everything works the way it did. Nobody knows what caused the change, but this seems to put everything back to normal, so I guess, maybe? All I can tell you is the stress of getting that extra episode in, the editing and all of that, that was rough on my brain. Oh yeah, on the subject of the brain.
I mentioned early on I'd go over some stuff about me and the channel. Well, here we are. In case you don't know, I am a stroke survivor. Fortunately for me, it was a really small one, but it had some pretty nasty lasting effects because, well, strokes are brain injuries. And something you need to know about people with brain injuries, we tend to have delayed responses to things. For example, you might ask someone if they want an apple. Normally, people respond pretty much right away. For someone with a brain injury, there might be a really long pause. An uncomfortably long pause. So uncomfortably long, you might think they either didn't hear you or they ignored you. But it's actually their brain trying to process a response. In fact, they've probably already expressed the response in their heads, it just hasn't connected to the mouth yet. It's also possible they may think they actually answered you, but in fact, nothing came out of their mouths. Everyone with a brain injury has this problem, and it can happen with a simple question or a complex one. It might not happen for several questions, and then it does. Yeah, that's what life is like for me.
Now let me show you what it looks like. You can see here, this is episode 11 of Mr. Prepper, and you can see the raw video was almost 57 minutes. And approximately 3 minutes of that was a break I had to take to eliminate some bugs. I mean, like real-life bugs, big ones, that came in through the front door when my son came back from walking the dog. Yeah, good times, good times. That takes us down to about 54 minutes. Then I took out the loading screens, which took us down to just under 51 minutes. And then I took out all those unnatural pauses and some unnecessary content. And our final video was 41.5 minutes long, and roughly 30 seconds of that is the intro and outro.
So, accounting for unnecessary content of roughly 3 to 4 minutes, that means 6 to 7 minutes of unnatural pauses and gaps where my brain is stuck trying to process, or I think I'm talking, but I'm not.
And by the way, I only do one pass of editing. Good editing has 2 passes. And that one pass takes me about 2 hours in multiple sessions.
All that editing time is intense brain work, which increases the stress, which causes brain fatigue, which increases all the problems. So, yeah, this is the world of a brain injury survivor.
Okay, so our programming segment got hijacked and became a health update. Sorry about that.
Also, courtesy of that damn stroke, I suffer from a rare migraine complex, which just makes everything worse. But we'll talk about the migraine stuff another time.
Hopefully all that gives you some insight on why things go the way they do around here. Things like game progression being messed up, or maybe even weird edits in the video. Just know that I game for therapy, and I game to overcome. And I share it with you folks in hopes that it gives you some hope in whatever you're facing in life. Let me know how I'm doing in the comments. And ask any questions you want about this. I'll answer them. I'm pretty much an open book about all of it.
And all that is a great segue to the actual health news, which is pretty brief in comparison. So I got another gut punch this month. I went to see my new headache neurologist, and he told me two things. They were relating to migraines, but they come back to the stroke as well. First, he said there's no getting better. All they can do is try to manage the symptoms, which wasn't really a surprise. After 12 years, I kind of knew it, but it still hurts to hear it said. And I think what concerns me most is it seems to be getting worse with time. Which brings me to the second thing he said. There's no explanation for some of the symptoms I'm experiencing. And you can read that to mean,
we have no idea how to treat for that.
Very encouraging. But like everything else, we'll get through it. At one point in my life, I was homeless. I'm twice divorced. I've survived a stroke, 3 total career changes.
The short version is you can knock me down, you can slow me down, but I will get back up and I will keep moving forward.
It may be diagonally, but there will be forward motion.
On the bright side, the new date for the disability hearing is set, and that is now on September 22nd. Thankfully, it isn't next year, which it would be if it went through the normal schedule process, so I'm pretty happy about that. After all, this is government, and government usually goes very, very slowly with stuff like this.
Now, normally I close with a spiritual note, but instead, I have some more sad family news to share. It's been a really rough spring for us. As you know, my father passed away in April, and unfortunately in June we had to say goodbye to another family member. We adopted Twister in 2009 when he was a year old, and he was our first dog ever. Twister was a Rhodesian Ridgeback Australian Shepherd mix, and we got him from a rescue group. And he was with us for 13 years, living to the ripe old age of 14, which is a long time for a big dog. To the end of his days, he wanted to play. He was excited whenever family came through the door. He still stood guard at the base of the stairs. He still wanted to check out everyone who came to the door. He was still gentle with children and babies and puppies. He still got excited when it was time for walks. He still loved ice cream and taking car trips. Unfortunately, health issues took their toll. His eyes and ears were failing or nearly gone. He had arthritis. And when his legs started giving out on walks, we knew it was time to let him go. And family was with him all the way to the end. He's survived by his 12-year-old brother, a Border Collie Belgian Sheepdog who's also a rescue, and 3 sisters, all Cavalier King Charles Spaniels, 1 rehome, 1 rescue, 1 trade. Oh, and of course survived by his human herd of 6. He was a loved and treasured member of the family all of his days, and I can think of no better epitaph for him than this. He was a rescue, and he rescued us well.
So, thank you for listening to me ramble about all of this. I am very excited about what lies ahead for the Chartreuse Leprechaun channel here in this studio. I hope you are too. Leave us any suggestions you may have to help us get better. I asked for help on a couple things earlier, so please and thank you for chiming in on those as well. And anything else you want to throw in is always cool, because we genuinely want to get better, and we'd like your feedback to help us do that.
Also, hit that like button, subscribe, set yourself up for notifications so you don't miss anything around here. And, also to keep the YouTube algorithm happy with us.
Please help keep the YouTube algorithm happy with us. And if you'd like to support us here at the Chartreuse Leprechaun, check out the Patreon merch and Koji links in the description below. And finally, my usual warning to you all. The Leprechaun is out there to mess things up. It's what he does. He's the Chartreuse Leprechaun, and he does it for you, for me, for everyone, everywhere, all the time. So remember, always, always, always remember, if you see it and you can't quite explain it, you can be sure the Leprechaun did it. Now you have yourselves a great day, a great week, and we will see you here next time on the Chartreuse Leprechaun. Bye-bye.